Well, the company started in 1946, or that's when the first duck tour left Wisconsin Dells. And then that company was bought by Herman Breitenbach, who moved from its previous location of just actually down the road here to where we are right now. And that was when he started the original Wisconsin Ducks. And their first tour took off in 1952, and they've been pushing strong ever since then.
It was one man and one duck, and his first original tours were actually on Mirror Lake. So he'd take people around and show them the beautiful scenery there. But then when he bought some land around the Dells, he started to give the tours around this area. And then the company built up ever since. Now we're one of the largest duck running companies in the nation. We have over 65 running ducks. We have 90 that includes some of our spares, some that don't run anymore at all, but 65 that actually run. The tour is about an hour long. We run from March through October. Weather permitting, we let the people just keep coming and try to get them the best looks we can. We like to stay open to see the fall colors. That's a really pretty time of year.
The tour overall, it's pretty fun. You know, I mean, people would think that after doing things repeatedly for a long period of time, they kind of get boring, but not to us duck drivers. We really we love what we do. We have a good sense of humor that kind of helps out with the stupid jokes that we have. You know, there's one. Actually, there's so many. I can't even keep track of them. Sometimes I feel like I'm getting dumber on the tour.
Just as a safety precaution, I'm going to have to ask you all to quick reach under your seats, grab the red safety belt, just fasten those all the way across your seat for me real quick. Yep, that'd be 1 point me, 0 points you.
Our tour starts off on some of our beautiful scenic trails. You go through lots of dells and lots of hills, and it's really spectacular.
Yeah, we start out on land. Just give some basic info about the duck. You know, how much it weighs, how wide it is, how hard we can fly. You know, stuff like that.
Then you end up going through Ferndale. Now Ferndale is beautiful. A lot of ferns, actually, if you believe it or not.
You get to see lots of ferns down there. There are over 27 different varieties down there, and it's absolutely spectacular. Lots of wildlife most of the time as well.
And now Ferndale is home to over 27 different species of ferns, including the red fern, blue fern, green fern, walking fern, talking fern, repeating fern, and ruffing fern, repeating fern, and the very rarely seen, but yet flourishing on our left right here, the invisible fern.
Then we head into the river. Now this is where some people really freak out, kind of scared about going in the river. You always got to remind them to plug your nose because you never know what's going on.
Now, as you guys may have guessed, we're about to make our first water entry into the Atlantic Ocean here, and it does tend to be a bit bumpy. So with one hand, you're going to want to brace yourself with that seat in front of you, and with the other, best thing to do is plug your nose. Just like that, we are now about to float the Wisconsin River. And I'm sure some of you are wondering what happens to those wheels once we enter the water. Well, you see, I've just disengaged them right up here. And so if you take a look over either side of the duck, you can actually see them slowly sinking to the bottom.
But then we crash into the river. That's the most relaxing part of the tour. I really like that part. We're just cruising down the river, having a good time, looking at crazy rock formations that look like turtles, hawks, elephants' butts, you name it, we got it.
All right, guys, I got one more rock formation for you, and it's coming up on our right here. Now, if you take a look just to the left of that big group of trees, you'll see that big cliff that sticks out from the rest, that big chunk of rock. It's got that big crack right down the middle, and there's that dead tree at the top center there. Well, that's called sliding rock, and you probably guessed it. That rock actually slides out about 1/4 inch every 10 or 15 years, so watch closely. Oh, see that? Right there. That was it. Pretty intense, huh?
And then you're about to float the Wisconsin River. That's when the time comes where you can kick back, relax, maybe put your feet up for a little while, turn around, talk to the people, and just really try to make a connection with them, make sure that they're having a good time.
Now, way back in the 1850s, what really made Wisconsin Dells famous are these beautiful sandstone cliffs that we've been seeing today. Now, this is no ordinary type of sandstone. It's actually a rare form of bedrock called Potsdam sandstone. And you can only find it in 3 places in the entire world. Potsdam, Germany, of course, where it gets its name, Zurich, Switzerland, and then right here on this 10-mile stretch of the Wisconsin River. Now, it's an extremely soft, fertile, and porous rock In fact, if I were to give each of you a piece of it, you'd have no problem crumbling it right in the palm of your hand.
Now the best part of the river has definitely got to be Hawks Beak. Hawks Beak is just an incredible feat of nature's ability. I mean, it's just a crazy, perfect example of a hawk. I mean, you look up there and I mean, the first thing you notice is that it looks exactly like a hawk, and that's when I like to turn my duck and make sure everybody can get a good photo of that, because that's one of the best memories that you'll have here at the Ducks, is seeing Hawks Beak.
Then we get to the breach where Lake Delton crashed through and broke into the river, and it's kind of like you're going through the river and you're having a great time, and then you come up to that point, it just brings you back to reality, like, wow, this is what what nature can do.
Now, Lake Delton was an artificial lake. It was created back in 1927 by a dam that they put in on Dell Creek. It was built by W.J. Newman. The project was actually started in 1926, and he actually passed away before the project could be completed. But they finished it in the summer of 1927, and we had Lake Delton for the next 80 years. Then this year, during early June of this summer, we had some massive flooding here around the Dells area that caused Lake Delton to overflow. So they opened up the dam about 4 feet, and they tried to release as much water as they possibly could. There was also an emergency spillway to the left of the dam. They opened that up, but it just wasn't releasing enough water fast enough, so the water kind of made its own route, and it did that at one of the lower points of the shoreline.
Now what basically happened here is in the early part of June we got a lot of torrential rainfall, and I mean a ton of it. And Lake Delton, which is right over here, filled up all the way to the top, higher than it's ever been before. And instead of breaking through the Lake Delton Dam, which is over on the other side of those woods, it chose the geological weak point, which would be this north shore here. Now at first, it really wasn't even that bad. It just started to overflow, trickle into the river right over here, but eventually it started to wash away the trees that were up here, County Highway A that went across here, as well as 3.5 houses that were right up next to the lake. And then after that, it just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And within a matter of 2 hours, the whole lake had drained right through here and into the Wisconsin River. No worries though, as you can see, they're hard at work trying to restore it. And right now they have a cofferdam built there. That's to divert the water that naturally feeds Lake Delton so that they can reconstruct County Highway A, which they say should be done by December. They should have a levee built, and so it should be travelable by then. And so, of course, we will have the lake back by next summer.
What do I do at the Ducks? I'm a PLA. I clean garbage cans.